I always ask myself, what is this future version of Stephanie? What habits does she want to
Mhm.
consume or practice? And what habits does she want to take off her plate? And if it doesn't fall in there, then I'm not going to do it because I'm trying to show up as that future version of myself.
That moment just forces you to be really real with yourself and the habits that you carry. A lot of times we're just doing things out of like just autopilot, where it's just like,
Right.
I just go to the bar on Fridays. I go out with my significant other or my girlfriends or whatever it looks like. And that's just what we do. We
Yeah.
have to be real with ourselves. We need that just personal accountability and just that self honesty with like the actions that we are putting in that aren't really serving us.
Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stephanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to up-level, manifest, and glow.
Hello, hello. Welcome back, beautiful souls. This is Next Level You podcast. Stephanie Dingbaum here. You guys, I have Cate Reesberg with me today. I had her on
Is it
in,
October?
yeah. I was going to say it was fall of last year. And we decided, so that collab, we just kind of talked about a variety of different health norms in our society. And we got amazing feedback from people after that collab went live. And we both reached out to each other and decided we were going to do this again. But we are really deep diving today on the topic of alcohol consumption because I don't know about you, Cate, but the feedback I got from people was so I just shared a snippet from that podcast. And truth be told, the snippet that I shared was like the last 5 minutes. And it was just like a little 1 minute snippet from like the last 5 minutes of the collab where we just literally skimmed the surface on this topic. And that's all the feedback I got from people. I had like 4 or 5 women reach out saying pretty much the same thing that, oh my gosh, it was so refreshing to hear this being talked about and normalized. And I've been sober for X amount of years. And it's just nice to know that there's others in the area doing the same thing because we're both from the same part of Eastern Iowa. And so that's what really sparked this idea to like, let's get back behind the mic again and let's just do a full collab on this topic because we both feel like we got shit to say on it. So
That's
here we
accurate.
are. Yeah, yeah. So, Cate, can you reintroduce yourself for listeners who didn't listen to that collab?
Absolutely. I'm Cate Reesberg. I own Coached by Cate. So it's an online service where I help women just work through mindset and lifestyle behaviors in order for them to get to their goals, typically weight loss. But again, the whole mentality behind my business is making it stick for life. It's not just a lose weight in 3 months and then gain it back afterwards. Like, I want you to have the tools to be able to maintain your physique that you feel good in and the mindset behind it and just be able to feel good 24/7, 365.
Yeah, yeah. And you are taking on clients at this time?
I am. I probably have room for about like 3 clients is where I'm at.
Awesome. And that's speaking, so just full transparency, you guys, we're recording this mid-February of 2026. So regardless of when this airs, if you are like, that was how many months ago by the time this is going live, who knows if that's still true, just DM her. Worst case, she's going to tell you no. Best case scenario, she takes you on within the month. So if you don't ask, the answer is always no. If you're curious, just DM her and find out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So let's just set the stage. You guys, I kind of explained why we're here today, why we're talking about this topic. But what I want to be honest with you guys about is this isn't us coming behind the mic, like talking down to those people who choose to drink. That's not at all what this is about today. We are here to, one, just talk about how alcohol consumption in general is being normalized, what that looks like in our society. But it's also, there's so many other facets of this topic that we want to talk about, like the decision to be sober, the effects of alcohol on your whole body health and wellness, the long term benefits of cutting it out of your life, maintaining sobriety long term and what that looks like, being the sober one in social settings, and even just like digging into the deeper issue of like, I feel like I'm saying like a lot. Anyways, the deeper issue of why do we make that choice to drink in the first place? Because I know that Cate has thoughts on this. I have thoughts on this. So yeah, just to give you an idea of like what we're all hoping to cover, that's kind of the rundown of what we're hoping to cover. But as you know, Cate, and I know as well, we may end up hitting all of these. We may end up hitting two of them, and then we'll be like, "Oh, guess we need to do this again." Like, we'll see.
Exactly. Hey, this is a topic that I feel like we both could talk on for
Mhm.
many episodes.
I agree. Yeah. So why don't you kick us off, Kate? Can you just share your story, what your journey has been like, why you made the decision to become sober, what influenced that decision, maybe your health journey along the way, things like that?
Absolutely. So honestly, I was a kid. I did not drink in high school. Like not a single drop. It wasn't until I turned probably like 19 that I started drinking. And so I went through kind of a heavier period of time of drinking. And then it kind of slowed down, stopped drinking so much. And then it picked up again, probably like I don't know, a few years later. And I was never the type to drink like Monday through Thursday. Like, I'm not having a glass of wine before bed. Like, I didn't have a relationship like that. Like, it truly wasn't all or nothing. Like, I am going out to drink heavily on the weekends, Friday and Saturday. But then Monday through Thursday, I don't touch it. And I think that's just an aspect that a lot of people I think can relate to. And so that was just kind of a big piece of it. But then COVID hit and obviously the bars closed down. And being someone who did not drink at home, like I never felt the need to drink on the weekends because the bars were closed. I never drank at home anyway. So like I wasn't going to start that. And that was truly the beginning of me cutting out alcohol. Like I will say, I'm not 100% sober. I will go and have like one, maybe two
Hmm.
alcoholic, but it is a clear boundary that I set and truthfully, it's maybe once a month. Like I can go months at a time and not have a single drink and it's not a big deal. But that, again, COVID was a rough time for a lot of people, but it brought so much clarity to me with how I was spending my weekends. Where
Yeah.
it's just like I looked forward to my weekends like we all do, right? We're just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to have some time off and have fun things to do. But then I would hit Friday night and go out to the bars. I'd stay out till 2 a.m. I would sleep terribly because
Hmm.
alcohol is awful for your sleep. I would feel
Agreed.
miserable the next day. But then I would like rebound just enough to go out and do it again Saturday night. And then I'd feel like garbage on Sunday. And it was just like this cyclical thing every single weekend. And so then COVID hit. And I was just like, oh my gosh, weekends are so phenomenal when I don't feel like flaming hot garbage, right? Like
Hmm.
I am getting things done. Like I'm really enjoying my weekends. I feel so much more fulfilled. And again, just the physical effects of it. Like I didn't feel just awful with like a stomach ache and a headache and
Yeah.
laying on the couch and then making other bad choices with like food and lack of movement that kind of follow suit.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of my story with
Okay.
it.
That's good to
Very
know.
clear cut story, short, I guess.
Yeah, no, mine is very similar. I too did not grow up drinking like you did. While peers were doing that on the weekends, I had my small group of friends from high school that we just chose to not engage in it. We just felt like that wasn't the way of life that we wanted for ourselves. And so we stayed away from it. And then even when I went into college, like, yeah, there were some weekends that me and my roommate would drink, but I was paying for college myself. My parents weren't able to help out. And so for me, it was like, I can't afford to get drunk on the weekends and then potentially not show up for class that I'm paying for. I just couldn't afford to like throw money away like that. So for that reason, I was really picky about how often I would drink. And then I would say post college, when I officially turned 21, because I was very much a rule follower, that was when I kicked off my drinking era. And then I would say for a solid 10 years from like 21 to 30, 31 was when I did most of my drinking like you, though. Mostly on the weekends. I wasn't like the type of person that would have a lot during the week, maybe one night here and there, but not a consistent nightly drinker by any means. But yeah, heavily on the weekends, similar story to you. It would affect my sleeping. I would get those like anxieties the next day where not only am I hungover, but I had anxiety about what did I say? What did I do? Did I sound stupid, look stupid? What are people thinking of me today? That kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And then we started our fertility journey well, literally right after we got married. So 2018. And I still continued to drink for the first couple of years, but then when I started working with an integrated practitioner in like year 2 of our fertility journey, that was when I decided I need to slowly start cutting out alcohol. So and then yeah, COVID hit and that I still dabbled in it a little bit because I specifically remember like the local Mexican restaurants, you could do margaritas to go, and I thought that was like the coolest thing. So it wasn't, unheard of for us like once a month to get margaritas to go and bring them home and have them in the garage and have our friends over, and play darts and play Wii and all the things. And that just became a norm. But I was still like primarily just on the weekends, not necessarily every weekend. And I don't know the exact day by any means, but there was finally a point where I had decided I had already cut pop out. I had already cut caffeine out, and so it was kind of the next thing that I'm like, "All right, now alcohol is next." And I've
Mhm.
always been a health and wellness junkie, I would say, but then it was to a point in my fertility journey where it's like, if I want this to happen, I have to be making healthier choices, and alcohol is not a healthy choice in my opinion. And so, yeah, I cut it out for fertility reasons, but then noticing the positive impacts, having hangovers, not having the next day anxieties, not having the bloating. I mean, that's just to name a few. I could keep going, but realizing that those things were no longer a part of my life was like, oh my God, this is the best decision ever. I'm going to stick with this long term. And I did. I stuck with it for a really long time and then maybe had a couple here and there randomly one summer. But otherwise, I think we're in 2026 now. I think it's been 4, maybe 5 years. And I have no desire to go back to it.
I
So
think
that's
that's
mine.
the thing I hear most, like, obviously, my own story, but even when I work with clients, and that is not something I ever force on my clients because it is
Yeah.
100% a decision you have to make yourself. You can't be forced into cutting out
No.
alcohol. Like, but most of my clients, I will also say gradually get to that point because we've gone listening to our body. Like, hey, how does that make you feel when you
Hmm.
go like that on the weekends? Like, how's your sleep the next day? Like, we
Mm.
work on those things, and little by little, they realize, like, okay, maybe this isn't like affecting me in a positive way like I thought it was. Like, there's a
Hmm.
lot of positives to it. And literally every client that has either gone sober or just again really cut back on their alcohol consumption, like, never have I heard them say, "Oh my gosh, I miss the way I felt when I drank," like, or "I
Right.
miss the way I looked." Like, that's just never something that comes out of their mouth, which I just think is so interesting and just like, I don't know, a cool concept that is just something that we end up not missing
Yeah.
once it's gone.
Yep. I completely agree. And I love that you brought that up with your clients because so Kate being a health coach, me being a mental health therapist, we serve similar but different niches, but we very much how we approach our clients, I think, is super similar. And I'm speaking from a coaching client who has shared this with me, and she's literally like, oh my God, like how you guys coach is like everybody that works with Kate should probably work with me and vice versa, because this particular client works with both of us. And she's literally like, you guys, like literally in how you coach, it complements each other so well. And I was like, I didn't know that previously. And so that's a great feeling. But what you say to your clients is so similar to how I approach my therapy clients in particular. It's like, will you suffer from anxiety? Well, let's talk. At some point in our therapeutic journey, I will say, let's talk about your alcohol consumption. Let's talk about your caffeine consumption. We very much look at it from whole body health and what are you putting into your body? How often are you watching the news? And, things like that. And so that does eventually come up. And it's been interesting because, like you're saying, I don't push it. It's a very personal decision that you have to make, but it's like one by one, since I started my private practice, I see clients like slowly but surely making that decision. And I'm just over here like, oh, I'm such a proud therapist, like kind of like mama bear, like, good
Proud
for
mom.
you. Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm like, because it truly is like, there's something about that when I have people, like, I've had random people talk to me and they're like, I follow you on Instagram and I've really cut back on alcohol because of the things that you say. And I've noticed like such really positive impacts on my life. And like, that is truly one of the things when people tell me that, it means a lot
I
because, like,
agree.
again, coming from my own journey and like being in that moment, you just don't realize again how crappy you feel, how crappy you look. Like when I
Yeah.
look back at old pictures, I'm just like, my girl, did you not look at the mirror and see how inflamed and puffy you were and just like
Yeah.
not well, not healthy? And so it does just make me happy when I hear people say that and have like really taken what I've said to heart. And I will say, kind of like you mentioned with our last podcast, like alcohol is that one topic that like I always have people reach out to me and like in the DMs and talk about, which I think is really cool. Like it's starting that movement, I think, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
I totally agree. This random woman reached out to me that lives in my area and totally took me by surprise because I just assumed that she was a regular drinker, which like no judgment, but I just assumed that because of the crowd that she hangs out with. And when she had self-disclosed that she's sober and just for health reasons chooses not to engage in it. And I was just like, wow, good for you because I know how personal of a decision that is. And we all know because society normalizes drinking for every reason under the sun. We
Yeah.
know how hard
Mad,
that is.
mad, you're happy, like have a drink for it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Um,
celebrating, you're mourning, like, there's always reasons to do it, So,
True.
I was really touched by that particular one, among others. Can we dive into the effects of alcohol on our health and wellness? Because I know we can both speak to this, on the physical health effects, and, you mentioned sleep early on and things like
Mhm.
that, but let's dive into that, how
Absolutely.
the effects of alcohol can impact just our whole body health.
Absolutely. I mean, so obviously, like I said, leading clients to the decision of cutting back on alcohol, even just from a fat loss standpoint, it's
Yeah.
obviously a big piece of what I work on. But I'm like, when I kind of mentioned that, like, one, alcohol is empty calories. Like it's not serving you in any way, shape, or form. And even if you don't track calories or you don't count your calories, calories still count. And so if you're out at the bar and you are drinking even a low calorie drink, say you're having like 100-calorie seltzer, if you drink even five of those, that is 500 calories.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but whenever I would drink, I would get hungry. I would get the munchies. You would end up at Taco Bell or putting in a frozen pizza or ordering bar food. Like it causes you to consume even more calories on top of the empty calories that you're already drinking. And by the time the night is over, like you'd be surprised you can be an easy 1,500, 2,000 plus calories on just your normal day, which I don't think people realize how quickly that adds up,
Yeah.
especially if you're consuming the more sugary type drinks or anything like that. And so again, just from that fat loss standpoint of helping women kind of like visualize like, whoa, like I am consuming a lot of calories just between alcohol and then the extra food that I never really planned on eating.
Yeah.
But then also again, like sleep, like I mentioned, that was a big one for me. Alcohol really, really impacts my sleep. Like
I
even one drink and studies show that like it
Yeah.
impacts your ability to fall into a deep sleep. And so
Yep.
I know a lot of people talk about like, I'm going to have that glass of wine. It just makes me feel like cozy and warm and it helps me fall asleep. And it might, but it actually impacts the like quality of sleep that you're getting. So maybe you fall asleep easily, but you're probably not going to sleep as deeply. You're going to have a more light sleep. You're going to wake up in the night because alcohol keeps your body temp up, your resting like body temp. And obviously, if your body's hotter, we're not going to sleep as well. And so I know that was huge for me. And even now, where I'm like, I'm 32. I love a good night's sleep at this point in
I
my life.
agree. I
Like
agree with you.
I'm like, I don't want alcohol to like impact that. And so
Uh-uh.
again, even when I am having a drink, like I'm very, very like strict about like it's going to be early. It's going to be with a balanced meal,
Yeah.
typically. Like I'm not just going to drink something more sugary on an empty stomach. I'm not going to drink get past, probably 7 o'clock at night because I want my body to be able to like metabolize it before it's time to go to sleep. So
Right. Right.
that, I mean, there's multiple different facets. I could,
Yeah.
I could probably keep going.
Yeah. No, and while you're talking about sleep, I will personally, I agree. The sleep for me was always horrible when I would drink, but particularly I would have the worst nightmares when I would drink.
That's awful.
I know. And it was probably more when I would drink liquor, but yeah, it's just the worst, and I would dread going to sleep because I
Yeah.
knew I would probably wake up from a nightmare at some point in the night, and I just hated that.
Which does make sense because I think it is like your REM sleep that is
Yeah.
typically affected by
Yep.
alcohol. And your REM sleep is typically when you're going to have more vivid dreams. So it definitely
Right.
makes sense as to why you would have those.
Yeah, I agree. And then as I was going on my hormone health journey through the fertility journey, it was my integrative practitioner that informed me how alcohol consumption was impacting my hormones, specifically estrogen and also my liver. And that is something I don't feel like a lot of people know about how your
But
hormones are brought into it. But that is also a really important piece of the puzzle because your hormone, and what a lot of people don't understand is your hormones impact your mental health. The hormones play such a big role in, like, you might think you're suffering from a diagnosis, but it might just be that your hormones are dysregulated. And a lot of people don't know that.
I think that's so many women, honestly, that,
Right. Right.
yeah,
And
that's another topic for another day.
yeah, yeah. But then you mix alcohol in with that, potentially being somebody who maybe has dysregulated hormones or hormones that are off the charts. And then
Yep.
you drink regularly on top of that. It's like your hormones are probably not benefiting from that regular consumption at all.
Absolutely. And that could be someone that, again, like I didn't
Yeah.
drink during the weekdays, but I binge drank on the weekends. Or that person that's like, I don't binge drink. Like, I just have a glass of wine every single night.
Right. Right.
Regardless, both of those aspects greatly affect your hormones. Like you said, estrogen kind of being the biggest one, because when you drink, like, it is a toxin. I know people do not like hearing that,
Right.
but it is.
It
It's not
is.
your body.
Right.
And that becomes the primary focus that your liver wants to metabolize and
Yep.
detoxify and get out of your body. And so when it's focusing on that, like, it's stopping all other functions. Like, your liver also metabolizes and gets rid of the excess estrogen in your
Mm,
body. And
okay.
so if it's only focusing on alcohol, it's no longer focusing on the excess estrogen.
Mm,
And so you have a lot of women that have, like, awful PMS, they have terrible cramps, maybe they have
mhm.
acne, just so many symptoms that can come from this excess estrogen that kind of just keeps, like, our body holds on to it and
Mhm.
just keeps recirculating because, again, we're not giving our liver that chance to actually get rid of it because it is so focused on, like, okay, alcohol is the primary thing in the body that needs to leave.
Yeah.
And that's what we're focusing on right now.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I was deficient in progesterone, and so what you're saying makes complete sense to me. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And those 2 absolutely, like, just bounce off of each other, obviously, estrogen and
Right.
progesterone, but,
Right.
yeah, that's just, like, a deeper aspect that a lot of women just don't know that that's how alcohol impacts you. So, again, even if you feel like, "You know what? I'm just having, like, a glass of wine a night," you're putting your liver into overdrive, like, every single night, even if
Yeah.
it's just 1 glass, and,
Yeah.
like, putting your hormones into overdrive when it's just 1 glass. So it's like,
Mhm.
that's when you have to ask yourself, like, is that just 1 glass actually worth it?
Right. Right. And I think that's a common thing you hear, especially in mom culture, unfortunately. But like we say it, I feel, to like make ourselves feel better. Like, well, it's just one glass. But if you're looking at the last year, if it was one glass, 5 nights, 4 nights, 3 nights each week or weekend over 52 weeks, that's quite a bit.
That's
And your
cumulative.
body.
That
Yeah.
adds up,
Yeah.
day
Right.
after day, week after week. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
So
Yeah.
it is
I
impacting
agree.
your hormones.
Especially that the mommy wine culture is just, again, I don't have kids yet, but it is just, like, one thing that I just don't agree with. Again, I
Right.
think it comes off as, like, a joke, but, like, I don't love the aspect of, like, to me, this is how it comes off as you dread motherhood so much that you need
Hmm.
alcohol in order to get by. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think that's fair to yourself. It's not fair to your children
Right.
for you to kind of be making those jokes. And truly, it's not actually benefiting you in the way that you hope it is. It's not
Mm-mm.
de stressing you. It's not helping you sleep better. Like, there are so many more positive coping mechanisms that we can choose over alcohol.
Yeah, that's the perfect segue into, one societal norm with drinking is that we drink as a way of coping with life stressors. Oh, it's been such a rough week at work. I deserve a drink tonight. Oh, it's been such a stressful day. I'm going to have a drink with supper tonight. Like,
Hmm.
since when is that the primary coping mechanism that we use in our society? And it's both genders. It's not just moms that use that excuse, it's both
For sure.
genders. And I think that's become such a detriment in our society, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, again, it is just odd. Like, I never saw alcohol as that. Again, I didn't drink during the week. Like, I
Right.
never got like this fix or this release from like
Mm,
one drink, right? Like, it
mhm,
never like subdued me or made me feel
mhm.
calm. But I do feel like many people must obviously feel that way if they're
Yeah,
continually resorting to it as, their primary way to de-stress after, like you said, kind of hard day, a long day. So again, I think it is just finding these other coping mechanisms rather than, again, cracking a beer or, uncorking a wine bottle, whatever it is.
yeah, yep, absolutely. Can we flip the script now a little bit? I know we talked about, the negative effects on our health. And you guys, we really just skimmed the surface because we're trying to really work in a lot into today's conversation. But I know we touched on sleep and hormones and mental health, but there's also negative effects on things like our energy levels, our metabolism, our gut health, skin, aging, cell health, brain function. I mean, there's so many negative effects to it. That's not the whole point in today's episode, but I just want to touch on that because there's also a lot that can be said on, like, for me, that was also part of my reason for cutting it out was I was realizing the very last time I drank, I had 2 drinks and I had it felt like a stomach flu for 4 days after that. Like, it
Mm.
felt like a 4-day hangover, and it was the worst feeling ever, and that was, like, the final straw for me. But my gut was very much inflamed. I was still going through my gut health journey at that time, and my gut was kind of, like, denying it, and I think spiritually my body was denying it as well, but that's a whole 'nother story. You see these effects, it's all connected. So, also, if you're having gut health issues, a lot of times that's connected to skin issues. So,
Hmm.
I mean, everything's connected. It's whole body health. It's not everything is interconnected. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
I know what you mean about like gut health. I got to a point where I'm just like, I didn't know how else to explain it other than like, I'm like, my stomach just feels inflamed. Like the
Yeah.
lining feels like it is on fire.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yep.
don't know how else to explain what alcohol was doing to my gut after a while. After like a night of
Right.
drinking, I'm just like, I did not feel well
Mhm.
for days. Like
Yeah.
it took a long time for me to recover from that. And I'm just like, why is this the life that I'm choosing for myself? Like this one short, precious life that I get, and I'm choosing to spend so much of it not feeling well or thinking that like this is the only way that I can have fun and enjoyment, which I think is
Yeah. Yeah.
a big mindset thing in the Midwest specifically.
Yeah.
So
Yep. I
I think that
agree.
needs to overcome.
I agree. So we both made that tough decision. I say tough because it's not easy for everybody, but we both made that tough decision to, for the most part, be sober. And what benefits have you noticed in your journey since cutting it out pretty much completely?
Dang. So I always say, like, if you want to see before and after pictures, I
Yeah.
post about well often.
Yeah.
And
I
people are
agree.
always like, I cannot believe how puffy you used to look when you were
Yeah.
drinking alcohol. And I've had other people, like, when I post about those things, kind of share the same thing. Like, this was
Yep.
me when I was drinking. And like, my face was just a balloon. I don't know how else to
Yeah.
explain it. It was just so inflamed. Like, yeah, I did not look well. So, again, just like my overall appearances, right?
Yep.
Where it's just, you want to look good and feel good as a human.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I did not look or feel good in my skin. So that was like a huge, huge piece of it. Like when you see my face then compared to it now, it is just like two different like facial structures, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then just like I mentioned, how fulfilling weekends are, where it's just like I can wake up in the morning and feel so good. Like I'm not just laying in bed. I'm not just couch rotting. I'm not ordering takeout. Like I'm able to get up and just like enjoy the day,
Yep.
enjoy my weekend, the beautiful weather, like go do fun things, like
Yeah.
finding enjoyment in other aspects. And then
Yep.
obviously, like again, just overall my health just feeling better, my gut feeling better. Again, having healthier looking skin, just
Yes.
like, it's
That's
just everything just was so impacted by me choosing to quit drinking. It's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah, I would agree. The skin is one that I feel like isn't talked about enough. But yeah, my skin has been so much healthier, I feel, since cutting it out as well. I've never been big, like acne has never been a huge problem for me, but I just have noticed in little ways since being officially alcohol free that, yeah, my skin is so much better off now.
It's just, it's clear, it's brighter,
Yeah.
like it looks like a healthy complexion.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that you didn't touch on, well, everything you touched on, I would agree. Like those are benefits I've noticed as well since quitting. Another one that I would touch on is I feel like the depth of my relationships
Mm,
is so much more genuine. People are able to meet me at the depth that I want them to. Now that I've been sober for a decent amount of years, I can truly say, like, I don't get that level of depth that I so crave from friends or family when drinking is involved.
hmm.
Versus when drinking isn't involved, people are meeting me where I want them to, and I'm walking away from those interactions feeling like truly like my cup was filled because I just do crave that depth. I don't know how else to explain it. I
You're
don't
not
want
a
to,
surface level person.
no, I don't,
It's where most conversations like teeter when you're out at a bar, where it's just
right.
like, one, it's loud, there's
Yeah.
music, like you're
Yeah.
trying to shout. You're
Hmm.
also just like you are, you know, just yeah, not being your normal person. You just kind of
Right.
have a bit of a facade on when you're drinking because
Yeah.
obviously it's messing with your mind.
Yep.
And I would agree. It's just like when I think back to just like conversations I would have, while drinking, everyone else is drinking. They're just so surface level. There's not a
Hmm.
whole lot on it. I would agree that I'm the same way where I want to not just have that small talk kind of conversation. Like we don't have to go to the depths or anything like that, but just being able to get to know people. They get to know me. Like you said, they're meeting me where I want them to meet me
Yeah.
at a more prime version rather than a version of me that has had far too many drinks. And again, the things that I'm saying are not things that I would typically say. I'm not acting like myself. And so it's like they're not actually getting to know who I am.
Uh-uh. Mm-mm. I completely agree. And then I don't know, for me personally, it's like if I feel like I'm not connecting with you at the level that I want, then I'm just more likely to like shut down or back off a little bit.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I worry then, like, I really get in my head, like, am I coming across like I'm being a bitch or like
Yeah.
I'm too good for you or whatever it might be. Like, I don't wanna come across that way, but I also, like, just feel like this isn't really doing it for me, and I get bored and, all the things.
Yes, your desire or what you view as fun has changed.
Yeah,
Whereas, like,
yeah,
again, talking when you are sober and you're talking to someone who is not sober on the brink of kind of like being tipsy or drunk, it's like that conversation is just, it's such a stalemate where I'm just
yeah.
kind of like, how can I get out of this? Like,
Mhm, mhm.
I'm not enjoying this. You're talking this close to my face. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
comfortable on your breath. Like,
Oh
it's
my god,
just,
yes. Yes.
putting, but yeah, so it's just like I think you really change your idea of like what fun socialization looks like. And I think
Mhm.
that was a big part of it for me, where I was just like, there were certain people that I just didn't hang out with anymore because I'm like,
Yeah,
you don't really align with the things that I enjoy doing, and I still have
right.
friends who drink,
Yeah,
not
yeah, no judgment.
or anything like that. But like the biggest thing for me is just initiating other ways of hanging out where I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go for a walk and
Yeah.
chat. Let's grab coffee
Yep.
at 9 a.m. rather than getting it together at 9 p.m.
Right. Right.
It's also on you to initiate different types of,
I agree.
s- just
Yep.
hanging out, friendship, things like that.
Yep. I totally agree. Yeah. Instead of going out in the evening, can we go to the farmer's market together in the morning or something like that?
Precisely.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. You know what's wild? We talk about leveling up our mindset, our energy, our whole lives, but then we're putting supplements in our bodies that are filled with junk that we can't even pronounce. I realized this a few years ago when I started really paying attention to what I was putting into my body, not just what I was thinking about or manifesting. And honestly, I was pissed. Because most supplement companies are loading their products with fillers, artificial colors, and additives that have absolutely no business being in something we're taking for our health. That's why I am extremely grateful that I found Select Balance. And honestly, it's one of those things I can't shut up about because it's genuinely changed the way I approach my wellness routine. Select Balance is a supplement line created right here in Eastern Iowa, where I'm from, by my friend and mentor, Stefanie Grutz. And here's what I love about it. Stefanie didn't create this company to chase trends or make a quick buck. She created it because she was frustrated. Frustrated that her family and friends were being forced to choose between supplements that either worked, but were full of garbage, or were clean, but didn't actually deliver results. So she said, screw that, I'm making something better. And that's exactly what Select Balance is. These are premium supplements made with the best ingredients for your body. There's no fillers, no artificial colors, no unnecessary additives or sugars. Everything is gluten-free and dairy-free. It's pure, it's honest, and it's balanced. That's literally the whole philosophy behind the brand. I personally use Select Balance for all of my supplements now, and I can actually feel the difference, not just in my energy, but in how my body responds to them. There's no weird crash, no stomach issues, no wondering what the hell I just put in my body. It's clean, it's effective, and I trust it. And here's the thing. If you are someone who's serious about your personal growth, your next level life, your energy, then you can't skip the foundation of physical wellness. You can have all the mindset work in the world, but if your body isn't being supported, you are building on shaky ground. So if you've been frustrated with the supplement aisle, or if you're ready to actually invest in your body the same way you invest in your growth, go check out Select Balance. Head to selectbalance.com and use code NEXTLEVEL. Trust me, your body will thank you. I'd really like to speak to, because we had so many women reach out who have validated that, like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear this topic. I've been sober X years, blah, blah, blah. I really want to speak to those women because it is a hard decision. Yes, it's a personal decision, but it's a hard decision choosing to potentially be the only sober one in a group. And just when socializing in general, group or not, it can be a heavy and hard decision. What tips, and I know we both probably have some that we can share, but what tips or what tools, strategies, recommendations, all the things would you recommend for somebody who's making that decision of like, it's time. It's time for health reasons, but also because socially this feels right. But it's not easy because people are going to question you. People are going to peer pressure you. Like, it's not an easy decision. So what
Yeah.
would you suggest to somebody who's making that decision?
In one, you do have to be willing to kind of assess your friendship circle.
I
It
agree.
doesn't like, well, I'm not drinking anymore, so I can't be friends with you because you choose to
No,
drink. Absolutely don't have to do that.
no.
But there are some people where you're just like our relationship never went deeper than us going out to drink. Like that's
Hmm.
all we had in common. Like I had friendships like that where I'm just like,
Yeah,
we only hung out when we were at the bars on the weekends. And I'm like,
right.
that's friendship. And if there's nothing deeper than that, it's a good time to reevaluate it. And
Hmm.
then again, just like if you do choose to still go out, maybe that is your friend group's way of socializing is getting together for drinks or whatever that kind of looks like. And you still want to be a part of it, but you're looking to, again, just back off of your consumption, not drink at all.
Yeah.
Like when setting that boundary, making it very clear with yourself, because at the end of the day, you are the only person that can put a drink to your lips. Like people may be annoying and try to
Yeah.
ask you and like, why aren't you drinking? Or you
Mhm.
rent like that. That
Yes.
one is wild. Like,
Mhm. I agree.
but like at the end of the day, you were the one to set that boundary and say, nope, I'm not drinking. Like, I'm not going to fall for your peer pressure, especially at
Yeah.
30 years old, like, too
Yeah.
old for that.
Yeah.
And that again, if you are in that realm where it's just like, you know what, I'm still okay with having a couple of drinks, it's setting that boundary that there's only two drinks,
Mhm.
not allowing yourself to get to the tipsy fuzzy point. That is what I always tell my clients because I'm like, once you hit that brink, it is so hard to backpedal out of it. It is so hard to say no because at that moment you're like, I just feel good.
Mm.
Like I'm just
It
having
is.
fun. Just one
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you are 4 or 5 drinks deep. You've broken the promise to yourself and you're
Yep.
gonna not feeling good the next day.
Yeah. Yep.
That's like kind of that limit that I always tell clients. Like if you are really real about this, like don't let yourself hit that point. Like you take it slow with your drinks, you drink water in between, you
Yeah.
don't eat on an empty stomach, and then you stop once you've hit that boundary
Yeah.
of what you're gonna set for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, here's the truth behind what Kate's saying, you guys, is the decision to be sober is not strictly a health and wellness decision. They're really, I believe, as a practitioner and a health and wellness expert myself, I believe that you should be doing the healing journey alongside with this because what's really going to benefit you is asking yourself those hard questions of like, why do I feel I need this to socialize in the first place? Why do I feel I need this? Why do I feel I need to have 5 to 10 drinks to have fun on the weekends? Why do I feel, what am I numbing in my life? What am I afraid to face
Yeah.
mentally? What am I afraid might come up in my thoughts if I don't have this to numb my thoughts? Like literally sitting down and asking yourself those hard questions could be the biggest catalyst for you in your health and wellness journey. And it'll help you get to the root of like, because choosing to be sober in a world where we normalize it for everything, it's hard. It takes a lot of willpower. It also takes a lot of confidence. Like I'm confident in my decision. I'm confident that I can say no to peer pressure. I'm confident that I can stop after 2. It takes a lot of confidence, a lot of self-esteem, and a lot of self-control. And those are skills that I feel get strengthened through the healing journey sometimes, often. And so I would really encourage you, the 2 really go hand in hand. If you're gonna make that decision, I wanna work towards sobriety. And even that word, like you hear sobriety and people just assume like, oh, because you used to be an alcoholic, is that why? Or oh, because you're trying to get pregnant, or oh, because you are pregnant. Like,
Yep.
no, just because I prefer sobriety. Like I don't,
We've just normalized it to such an extreme
yeah,
where it's just like, if you don't drink, like, what are you doing? What do you mean? Like, it's just, you're not allowed to be that odd one out when it's just like, really,
yeah,
we should be normalizing that, the person that doesn't drink, and looking at it from the opposite end where it's just like, why would you go do that to your
right.
health every single weekend? You know, there's things that are just very backwards in our society that like we have just really been pushed to normalize, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't be the things that are normalized.
Yeah, I agree. It reminds me of we had to do this exercise in one of my psychology classes in undergrad, and you had to take like a normal thing that we do in our society. We ended up reading this book about this very rare like tribe-like society that exists somewhere in like South America and how some of their rituals to us seem so weird and out there. So we were reading this book about their society and so we had to pick something from our society that's considered a norm. And we had to like write a paper breaking it down step by step, explaining it to somebody who's a complete foreigner. So, like,
Yeah.
thinking in terms of alcohol consumption, you would say something along the lines of like, so we take this liquid and we drink it in heavy amounts, cup after cup after cup, can after can after can. And what's in this liquid is these horrible toxins that really like ruin the inside of your gut and your stomach. And then the next day you wake up after a night of like probably not getting a lot of sleep. You wake up the next day and you feel sick to your stomach. You might even get sick and throw up. You might have a headache. Like you're explaining this normal thing to us, but you're explaining it to an outsider. And when
Oh,
you
for
said like
sure.
Yeah, I'm like, "This is what we're doing though," you
And they'd be
know?
like, why are you doing this? Like,
Right,
why is that here?
right. Yeah, yeah,
It's
literally,
funny.
that's what comes to mind is, like, think about something that we just think is so normal and explain it to a complete foreigner, and whether you drink or not, you guys, like, no judgment, but think about that, like, think about how weird it is that we normalize this thing that we know is bad for us, but because it's so
It's
heavily
fun.
yeah, yeah, it's done by so many people, it's fun, and there's a lot of positives that people get out of it, unfortunately, but, like, think about how backwards that really is. And if you know that, then I just think that will help you in that decision. But I really go back to if you can have a backbone, if you can practice that self control and just own that this is who I want to be now. This is the identity I want to carry now. I always ask myself, like, what is this future version of Stephanie? What habits does she want to
Mhm.
consume or practice, and what habits does she want to take off her plate? And if it
Wow.
doesn't fall in there, then I'm not going to do it because I'm trying to show up as that future version of myself. So I just think like it's important to do that inner work. I think it goes hand in hand with the decision. And it's not like you have to choose complete sobriety, but
Yeah,
just diminishing it in general could benefit your health in so many ways that you're not realizing.
absolutely. And that's actually like s- kind of a piece of homework that I've had clients
Hmm.
do before is like your, next level you or like
Yes.
your next like best version of yourself. Like,
Yes.
what habits does that person need to have to achieve that person? And
Yes.
what habits do you currently have that are holding you back from being that person? And just
Hmm.
like that moment just forces you to be really real with yourself and the habits that you carry. Because again, a lot of times we're just doing things out of like just autopilot, where it's just like,
Right.
I just go to the bar on Fridays. I go out with my significant other or my girlfriends or whatever it looks like. And that's just what we do. When really we need to kind of be like breaking those things down and being like, I don't totally love where I'm at, whether it's like my mental health, my physical health, like, there's other goals that I have in my life, like, but why am I not getting to those goals? Like we
Yeah.
have to be real with ourselves. Like we need that just personal accountability and just that self honesty with like the actions that we are putting in that aren't really serving us.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. As I've been helping some therapy clients through some of these tough questions of like, what is it, not necessarily with alcohol, but with other things, like what is it that ultimately you're trying to numb? What thoughts is it that you're afraid of facing if you cut this out of your life? And whatever the vice is that you're numbing with, a lot of the answers seem to always go back to a self-worth issue, not feeling like I'm good enough, not liking the person I'm seeing in the mirror. These stories from childhood, whether it was told to you by parents or teachers or older siblings or whatever, of like, you aren't fill in the blank enough, like good enough,
Hmm.
pretty enough, thin enough, whatever that might be.
Yep.
And it seems more often than not, these vices that we use to numb ourselves all goes back to a self-worth wound or issue of some kind, is what I'm noticing.
Absolutely. And kind of like you mentioned that like making those choices to like not drink,
Yeah.
just it requires self-confidence. And one thing again that I always tell my clients is that if you want confidence, you have to create it. And
Yes.
confidence truly comes from making and keeping promises to yourself.
Yes.
We tend to just be the flakiest people ever to
Mhm.
ourselves. We hate when other people do it, but we'll do that to ourselves time and time again,
Yep.
right? But I'm like, if you want to be that confident person, you tell yourself you're going to do something and you do it. So if you're
Yeah.
going out for drinks with friends and you say that you're only going to have 2 drinks, you best be keeping that promise to yourself because
Mhm.
I guarantee you're also going to wake up the next morning and feel so confident and so proud in your ability to follow through on that promise.
Yeah.
Because reason we lack a lot of confidence is because we're just constantly not following through. We're
Yeah.
breaking promises that we make to
Yes.
ourselves.
Like self-sabotaging. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Yeah, that's so, so important that we touch on that. It's like a muscle, you guys. The more you flex that muscle, the more you practice proving to yourself that I can stick to the 2 a night rule or the 1 a weekend rule, then you are proving to your brain that I can do this. And then the next time you go out, it's like, I have proof I did this last weekend. So of course I can do it again this weekend. You just have
Mhm.
to keep flexing that muscle, and that makes it stronger and stronger over time. And ultimately, then your brain believes, like, no, you actually can follow through and do what you say you're going to do. I also very much, oh shit, I was going to say something on that and then I just lost it. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say something to that matter of flexing that muscle, but I just lost it. What? Okay. I'm like stale now. I'm like, what
It's
just
right there.
I had something I was like, oh, I should touch on this with the peer pressure. Okay. So I also want to speak to while, yeah, the self-control piece is huge, flexing that muscle is huge. I also think it's important for you to know just because we can't control other people, right? Like people are going to peer pressure us, especially when you're in a group setting. It's almost always guaranteed there's one person who's gonna, like, poke the bear. Like,
Yeah.
come on, you
Come
can.
on.
Yeah, totally.
Come on.
Yeah, and we take it like it's an us problem, like, I have
Mhm.
to be the strong one, but just understand in those instances, that is not a you problem, that is a them problem. That is you gotta understand we're all mirrors of each other, and we are all projecting onto each other. So, what most bothers me or triggers me in you is because you are mirroring to me a insecurity of some kind that I'm still
Mhm.
carrying. And so just understand in that instance, in that social setting where that person feels comfortable pressuring you, it is because you choosing to not drink is mirroring to them an insecurity of theirs. They don't yet have that inner strength, that confidence, that self control to not drink. And so you are mirroring that to them. It's making them extremely uncomfortable. Therefore, they are poking at you. It makes them feel better. It eases their anxiety a little bit. So just understand that is what's happening in that moment. It's not a you problem, it's a them problem. It helps to just ease your mind a little bit. You can tell them no. And if they're a good enough friend, they're not going to give a shit, you know?
Mhm.
But don't
Agree.
take those things so personal because it's not a you thing. It's just not.
And it goes back to like the grade school bully. Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
picking on you because there's a lack of confidence within them.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you're feeling some type of maybe judgment,
Mhm.
like, oh, you're not drinking and you're probably judging me because I am drinking. Like
Yeah.
a whole wheelhouse of things going on in their brain. But again, at the end of the day, like their thoughts are not your problem. Like
Right.
you worry about you and your health and your choices and what aligns with who you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you don't have to like change your whole friend circle by any means. If you have good enough friends, they will support you in this journey and they will cheer you on through it. They won't push you to engage in it. In fact, hopefully they would see value in watching you go through that. That may be what they need to see to start their own journey of sobriety. And we're not telling you that you have to back off on seeing friends by any means, but it does, from time to time, it does not hurt to assess your friend circle because you are going to become most like the five people you spend the most time around. So
Mhm.
if your circle is all heavy drinkers, it's going to be extremely hard for you no matter how much you've built up that confidence muscle. You just naturally do become most like those people you spend the most time around. So
For
it's
sure.
important to do that assessment, I feel. And you're not cutting people out. You just might see less of them, or you might go to less Friday night drinking in the garage gatherings
Mhm.
or whatever. It's nothing personal. It's just like for me, it was more like, honestly, I just really just wanna stay home and read a book.
Yeah, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be up late.
Right, that too, yeah, like,
Like,
it's
can we do this over noon? We're like,
mhm,
I'll come hang out if it's like
yeah,
early, but like don't ask me to come do something
yeah,
past 7:30, honestly.
yep, I agree.
Like I said, be that friend that initiates something different. Like
Yep,
if your group is always going out for drinks, be the friend that initiates going for a walk, grabbing a
yes,
coffee,
yes,
just doing something different
yes,
together. Because more than likely, most people love grabbing a coffee, love chit chatting. Like you
mhm,
can find other fun things to do if you find value in those friendships and you
yeah,
want to hold on to those friends.
yes,
Absolutely. But find different things to do, right? Because I
Yeah.
mean, if you're going to choose to cut back on alcohol, more than likely, you're going to hit a point where like that's no longer fun, where it's
Yeah.
just like, it's not fun being the sober person when everyone is drunk. Like I can hang
Mhm.
around people that are just casually drinking
Yeah.
and they're still themselves and it's totally fine. But like
Yeah.
when you're that person and it's just like everyone is inebriated, it's
Yes.
just get me out of here. And so
Yep.
you
Yep.
find out that that's no longer fun to you. So you're going to
Yep.
either again assess that friend group or initiate other ways of having fun with them.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And for me, like what I chose to do was I would like bring my own NA drinks to our
Hmm.
gatherings. And typically they were drinks that like nobody had seen or heard of before. For those of you that aren't familiar with some NA drinks, like I've gotten big into Hio. I tried Moment at one point in time. I'm big into Kin Euphoric. I also like went through a phase of drinking Poppy, which isn't an NA. I mean, it is, but it's like a soda, probiotic, prebiotic soda or whatever. But yeah, incorporate more of that. I really liked bringing those things to our gatherings because people are always like, what is that? What are you drinking? And they were always curious. And so I loved being like, oh, let me tell you about, Kin Euphorics. Like, I love these drinks. I just like to like spark people's curiosity in that way. And it
For
was fun. I
sure.
felt like I was educating them and, it's fun.
And it's kind of a fun drink. So, like, you don't
Yeah.
feel left out in a way. Like, you're not
Yeah.
just drinking a water. Like, you're allowing
Right.
yourself to have a fun drink that you
Yeah.
enjoy. Or maybe this sparks your curiosity and you want to make some mocktail recipes that you
Yeah.
can take. And if someone wants to add alcohol to it, go
Right.
for it.
Right.
But you have your option to drink what you want to drink and to stay sober. So, I mean, there are multiple options.
I completely agree. Yeah. And I think it's fun. There's actually way more NA options nowadays than there ever
Oh my God,
has been before.
so many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even beer, like Athletic Brewing is
Yes.
a company where I don't really drink a whole lot of beer, but
Sure.
I have had it in the past and
Yeah.
it tastes good. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it tastes like beer. So
Yeah.
there's just so many options, which I will say, I think, and I've seen multiple studies where there's just been a massive shift in Gen Z not wanting
hmm
to drink as much, which is
Yeah.
just really curious. And so I'm hoping that that kind of continues,
hmm
that trend continues and obviously creeps into like the millennial generation. And I
Yeah.
just think there has been overall just a lot more curiosity towards not drinking as much.
Yeah.
But it's
I
cool to see
totally
the
agree.
and choosing not to and finding other ways to like enjoy their life and their time.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. You're just seeing also like more health and wellness options, I
Yep.
feel like less sugary drinks. And I think it's kind of random how Pepsi now is off like hopping on the bandwagon with these like probiotic Pepsis. And I'm like,
I haven't even seen that. Ew.
it just was on during the Olympics, and so I was like, "Oh, it's cute that you're, like, having some FOMO Pepsi."
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah, like, let it leave that for the pros, I feel like. I just don't trust it, I guess, like,
No,
you know?
the quality is really poor, but I think,
Yeah.
yeah, another topic for another day is
Yeah,
just the
totally.
marketing gimmicky junk
Yeah.
out
And
there.
let's be honest, we could even go as far to say, like, well, why do we need an NA option? Like, why do you feel you have to hold something in your hand when you're
Mhm.
around a group of people that are also all holding beer cans in their hand? Like, that's such a it's like we almost feel like we have to have a crutch of some kind. And I am guilty of that. Like I do love having my crutch of something. Sometimes just having the water or the lemon water is just not enough for me.
Yep,
And it's unfortunate that we sometimes need that, but whatever. At the end of the day, I'm consuming something that I feel way better about.
it's a
So,
better option.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. But I do want to speak to, whether you are sober curious or you've made the decision to go sober or, you know, you kind of teeter back and forth, even maybe if that decision is hard for you simply because socially there's that constant pressure. I just want to speak to like, you're not alone. It's hard for everybody. But just like we said before, if you can just practice building up that confidence muscle and you can practice really the benefits aren't going to come right away. I mean, for sleep, for me, it did, but more than anything, like the longer you can stick to it, the more you're going to see the benefits from it. And for me, that was the big motivating force was like, I wanted better sleep. I wanted my hormones to look better on lab work. And I just wanted to feel better as far as my gut health went. And when I
For sure.
started to notice those things changing, that's when it was like, over my dead body, am I going back to my old ways? You know?
And that's, again, another thing that I like to preach on
Yeah.
is tuning into how things make you feel, whether it's good or bad. Because again, I
Yeah.
think that is truly such a game changer when it comes to changing our habits. Like when we kind of tune into like, I feel really miserable today and you connect what it's from. Like you verbally say that to yourself that like, I woke up today and I have a headache and my stomach doesn't feel great because I drank too much last night. Like
Yeah.
you were being very real with that. But then
Yeah.
again, on the flip side, recognizing the positives, like I didn't drink last night or I stuck to my boundary and I woke up feeling great. I got a good night of sleep. I'm going to get up and go for a walk or
Yeah.
enjoy the day. So just like being able to tune in to how your body feels and what it is telling you
Yeah.
is going to make a big difference on making the better choices easier. Because at the end of the day, like we don't want to feel like crap. Like
No.
that's no human likes feeling that way. And so
No.
tuning
No.
into the things that don't make you feel good, probably not great for you. And the things that
Right.
do make you feel good in the long run are good for you. And so
Yeah.
that can make a big difference. It's just naturally making better choices easier.
Yeah. And honestly, you guys, it takes something like, what is it, 21 days to build a new habit? And I think that's where there's a lot of power behind those like 30, 60, 90-day challenges is like, well, you're going to build a habit of not drinking after 21 days. And so you're less likely with those challenges to go back to it. And then, I mean, within 30, especially 60, but within 30 days, you will notice a
Mhm.
difference in certain aspects of your health. And one of them will be sleep. I guarantee you that.
Inflammation, puffiness is going to start decreasing. You're going to
Yeah.
look bloated,
Yeah.
like you are
Yep.
overall going to feel better.
Yep. Yeah.
It's
I
crazy.
completely agree. Yeah. And I want to speak to, like, just because of the journey my husband and I are on, now that we have a child, if we do go out with friends and there's alcohol involved, depending on the level of consumption, we just can't afford, and my husband has said this, like, we just can't afford to be blobs the next day. We have to be present parents, or at least one of us has to be. And then there's the guilt of not being the present parent and how shitty that
Mhm.
feels on you. And then you carry the weight of that. And that doesn't feel good. None of that feels good. And so it's just when you sit down and you weigh the pros and the cons, we're both on the same page with that. He's like, I'll have like 1 to 3, but anything beyond that, like, I can't afford to not be present the next day with Augie,
Like,
you
I've
know?
always thought that I'm like, I can't fathom being hungover with a child, especially
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Augie's age, where it's just like
Yep.
he doesn't care if you do not
No.
feel.
No, he
He's
doesn't give a shit.
proud. He he's gonna do as he does, as
Yeah.
he should, and
Yeah.
you have to deal with it. And like you said, you're probably gonna deal with it. You're gonna be more short tempered, which
Yep.
is not his problem. Like
Nope.
that is not his fault that you don't feel well.
I
It's
agree.
like you're going to again not be as present, not
Yeah.
making his weekend good.
Yeah.
Like it's less fulfilling for him when mom and dad just want to watch TV all weekend because we don't feel good
Yeah.
and then we eat junky food. And again,
Mhm.
it's modeling behaviors. And it's like,
Yep.
do you feel okay modeling those behaviors to your kids?
Right.
Or is that something that maybe doesn't sit right with you?
Yeah, I agree. That's like my biggest issue with it is like how unfair to this innocent soul that even if it, like people could justify it, like, well, it's only like one day a weekend, but still, like, how unfair to this innocent soul that you chose to go out and get drunk the night before, and now you are a blob. And all your kid is looking for before they go away to daycare for the next 5 days and don't see you really except for the evenings. How
Mhm.
unfair is it? They have this one day out of the weekend that they want to soak up your time and be around you and just be in your presence. And you are just not really desiring that because you feel like crap. Like, I just think that's not fair to them, and they don't know. They don't know it. They don't know the reason. You do, but they do
Mhm.
not understand that, and I that's what I think is not fair to our children is, like, you can choose to do it, but just understand your children are under a certain age are not gonna understand why you're tired, why you're cranky. All they're gonna think is, "Mom's yelling at me. Mom's not in a good mood today. Dad just wants to sleep all day." Like, they're not gonna logically say that again.
They don't wanna be around me. They
Right,
see like they're a
right,
problem, and eventually
right.
they hit an age where they do understand. They know
Yes.
what you're doing, and
Yeah.
it doesn't sit right either, where it's
No.
just like, now they understand why you're not feeling well, and more than likely, they're gonna grow up and do the same thing because,
Yeah,
again, they're gonna do as you do,
yeah,
not do as you say.
yeah,
Like, you are the model, and they are the sponge that will soak all of that up.
yep, yeah. So that's where I struggle is, like, I just really look at it from that spiritual aspect of, like, they're just so innocent, their soul doesn't know any different, and how unfair to them, you know? I mean, I know because of just being the spiritual human that I am and the therapist that I am, like, I've worked through so many subconscious blocks and wounds myself that were formed from actions and specific behaviors that my parents had the best intentions, but they didn't know that those actions were gonna create a wound in me, you know?
Mhm.
And now that I've healed wounds, I'm very conscious and aware of, like, I don't want to place those wounds on my own children
For sure.
from simple statements we make all the time that we think are just like, haha, innocent, but those
Mhm.
haha, innocent comments can become a wound. So I'm just like, it's almost like a, I don't know, a double-edged sword. Where it's like, oh, sometimes I wish I didn't know so much, you know?
Exactly, but
Yeah.
it's good to be aware
Yeah.
of those things because, again, I don't think like you said, I think a lot goes back to childhood for a lot
Yeah.
of people,
Yeah.
and the things that, like, you do and you say, you don't even recognize that it's coming from your childhood
Right.
and how much those things have impacted you in a negative way, and
Yeah.
then, like, you're putting that onto the next generation
Mhm.
too, because, again, there's it's just so normalized in our brain because we grew up with it, and so there's just a lack of awareness surrounding it, so I know what you're getting at.
Yeah. I think that's just so important to touch on that.
I think a lot of people don't think of themselves as alcoholics.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Would hear that word and be like, "Oh, that's not me."
Yeah. Yeah. I've to a few different people, I've explained, like clients, in particular, I've explained like, well, there's high functioning alcoholism.
Mhm.
That's probably what a lot more people suffer from because especially the people who are like, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, and I'm curious, I wanna look, even the term binge drinking, I think it's like it's not that many drinks, and I think
No.
people would be very it's 5 or more drinks for men and 4 or more drinks at one time for women. That
Hmm.
is, like to
Hmm.
me, binge drinking is I got blacked out. Like,
Yes.
I ate drinks, and, like and that was me, I'm not gonna lie, but I think people are surprised when I say that, like, binge drinking is technically, like, 4 drinks. Like,
Hmm.
you are drinking more than 4 drinks in one sitting.
Yeah.
It's most people, they're gonna
Yeah.
have, like, 4 drinks watching a game or just out with friends, like
Hmm.
I think that's kind of an eye-opening
Yeah.
little piece of info.
Yep. I totally agree. And then there's the only other thing that I struggle with drinking is like it's one thing if you're gonna do it like privately in your home with your friends, but where I really struggle the most is like when people want to go out and drink and then it's like who's gonna drive home. And for me, I have so much on the line that I could lose if somebody who feels like, well, I've only had 3, I'm fine to
Yeah.
drive, but it's like I could lose my license to practice, which means I could lose my private practice, which means I won't have a way of making a living, which is like a part of my identity. So I'm going to lose a part of my identity all because somebody who had 3 drinks risked it and drove us home one night. But
Mhm.
then, there's always that risk of like getting pulled over. And so I just really for that reason, even, I don't like to put myself in certain social settings unless I know like it's just going to be privately at somebody's house. So then I have control. I can choose to leave when I want to leave and I'm
Yeah,
sober. So it doesn't matter. There's no risk involved. So that's where I kind of struggle is like, I don't, and also with that, it's like, well, then you just always be the driver. But then it's like, okay, so I always have to drive. There's
that's
still
not fun.
liability. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. The going out to bars, which I don't remember the last time I went out to a bar.
Mm.
It's been a long time. It's been years and I hate it. I'm like, I feel like such an old person there.
Yeah.
It's just, again,
Yeah.
it's not the vibe that I enjoy at all.
No,
Like,
I get
again, I
that.
can get together at someone's house
Yeah.
and
Totally.
you feel, I don't know, in control of the situation a little bit where it's like at a bar, it's like, there's only so many things here. I'm technically like at this establishment. So I feel like I need to buy something, even
Yeah.
if it's diet pop or whatever. And it's like, that's
Right.
not what I want. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
to drink, but I feel obligated because I'm here taking up space.
Yep.
And whereas when you're at a house, it's just such a more relaxed atmosphere. And I feel like people are in control when they're at
Yes.
home rather
Yeah.
than a bar environment too. Like
I
they
agree.
tend to turn into wraps a little bit better.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's what I preferred when people would just come to our house and drink in the garage. It's like, well, I can walk inside and shut the door and be like, hey, I'm going to bed for the night. Like, you guys have
Yeah,
fun type of thing.
be
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. Just that sense of control. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Kate, I really appreciate you coming on and talking to this. You guys, if you feel seen and feel heard, I would love for you to show up in our DMs and just know that you're not alone. This is a journey Kate and I have both been on. And there's actually more people out there that are on this same journey than you realize. People just aren't
Mhm.
bragging about it, unfortunately. So, because I've had a lot more people come out of the woodworks and admit this to me since our last collab. So, just know you're not alone if you're on the sobriety journey for whatever reason, no judgment. But if you're on that journey and you're feeling like isolated and you don't really have anyone, you're not alone. But I'm happy to support you through that. As somebody who's been on it for the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years herself. I know there's times where it can feel lonely, but it doesn't have to be either. So awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and talking to me
Yeah.
about this. This has been so fun to talk about because it's a topic that I myself have become really passionate about. And now we both now know that it's a topic that people wanted to hear about. I mean, the overwhelming responses we got from that one reel, or that I got anyways, was just like, okay, people want to hear about this. So let's give the people what they want.
Yeah, I think it's just a very real conversation. And again, just centered around like one that a lot of people relate to,
Yeah.
whether it's being in a group of people that are drinking a lot or you're drinking a lot and it's just not feeling like the life that aligns with you anymore, but you're not sure how to remove yourself from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've all had those thoughts and those feelings. And so I think it's just a good conversation for more people to hear or to even like think more deeply where like, I think most people know like, yeah, alcohol's not good for me, but like they don't know the extent and how like deep that goes.
Yeah.
Again, like all the health issues we talked about, I think it
Yeah.
is like a primary driver behind like 7 different types of cancer, which is wild.
Yes.
Breast cancer being one of them, which
Yes.
is insane. But again,
Hmm.
when you're not able to detox estrogen and it's accumulating in your body over and over again, it makes sense why breast cancer is one of them. That is an estrogen driven cancer typically.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
it's, I think, just realizing the depth of how bad it is for you.
Yeah.
Again, not trying to make it sound like scary or judgmental or anything, but like it is really important to know what you're putting in your body, why you're doing it, and if it really aligns with who you want to be and how you want to feel and all of those questions.
Yeah, I really appreciate that perspective. Yeah, and that's such an important statistic to put out there and share. And if you guys are living under a rock, then I'll just tell you, like Iowa is one of the leading states when it comes to cancer right now, and so the alcohol consumption is not helping that matter.
Maybe.
So,
No.
yeah. Well, I typically end with rapid fire questions, as you know, but I wanted to do like mix it up a little bit and do like a this or that type
Love
rapid
it.
fire. Yeah, I thought this would be interesting for listeners. So, okay, this or that, water or milk?
Water.
Me too. Yeah, with a lemon in it. Do you put anything in your water?
I don't.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll do like a little electrolyte packet, like an element packet or
Yeah,
something. So
yeah.
I'll do that. Like sometimes if I'm looking for something a little more flavorful, but
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
it to the water girl.
Okay. Love that. Same. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
I know that about you. I see your
Ice
stories.
ice latte every single morning.
Yep. I know that about you. Yep. I am more of a tea girl, but even that's been more like less and less over time, I
Yeah.
feel. Netflix or read a book?
Read a book. I don't even have Netflix right now.
Really good for you. That's good. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but yeah.
No, we typically like shuffle through we only have the streaming device that we are
Right.
watching our current show on. Like we typically
Yes.
watch an episode of something per night. And so we only keep like pretty much one streaming device. Like I'm not paying for like $100+ worth of stuff. So
No, silly.
we're not watching anything on Netflix. So we don't have
Yeah.
it. But
I love it.
again, I mean, so we're watching I can't even think. Like one of them we're watching is All Creatures Great and Small. It is my top show. It's a PBS masterpiece show,
Hmm.
but it is
Hmm.
highly rated and it is wonderful. It's very wholesome. But I do love reading books.
Interesting.
As well. I read books every single day.
I
But
love that. I love that you make time for that. That's so great. That's the one thing I miss since becoming a mom is like I miss reading so much and I have to figure out a way to work it back into my routine somehow because
I have a book on my nightstand, and that makes a big
yes,
difference because
I
it's great
agree.
for like I started plugging my phone into the bathroom probably almost 2 months ago now. So like
Awesome.
one, it's just I don't want it by my head. I've
Yep.
seen enough things where like
Hmm.
not good. And
Agreed.
two, just like scrolling before bed, reading makes such a big difference. I've done that for probably almost 2 years now of
Yep.
reading before bed. And it's a game changer, even if it's just 10 minutes. Like
Yeah.
read a little bit and it makes a difference for falling asleep.
I love that. That's a good tip. Yeah, I definitely prefer to read a book over Netflix as well. We are similar to you. Like we watch one episode of something a night and that's about it. So
You know,
a walk outside or walk on the treadmill.
outside,
Same.
the warmer
Nature.
weather that we've had for February has
Yeah.
been amazing. I mean, I do
Mhm.
have my walking pad that I
Yes,
did
you
right
do.
before this. And that's a game changer too. I
Yep.
love having it, especially
Yep.
in the Iowa winters, but
Agreed.
definitely walk outside.
Yeah. Nature is definitely a flex. I agree. Night
Mhm.
owl or morning person?
Morning person. We like to go to bed pretty early. Like even lately, I'm just like, we've been going to bed way too late, like, which is not even late.
I'm
And
sure.
so we do have like our show done and wrapped up by 8:30. So we can
Mhm.
like brush, do all our
Yep.
things, like read a
Yep.
book, and then like lights out at like 9:30 typically.
I love that. We are night owls, but we really need to be better because we have really been hurting ourselves in that department. We need to like start our night routine like after we put Augie down at 7:30 and like we need to
It's
stick
probably
with
hard
that.
though, because that's like your time together, where
Yeah.
it's just quiet time for you guys. So I
Yeah.
get that. Be hard.
Yeah. We'll figure it out, but it's definitely something we need to work on. Night in or night out on the town?
Night in.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Again,
Like,
I don't mind having people over. I
yeah.
feel like I'm more of a host where I'm like, hey, we'll have people over at our place. Like
Yes.
we're going to someone else's house, but yeah, like not usually a night out. Or again, like a night out meaning we go out for like early dinner and we're back
Hmm.
home.
Yeah. Nope. I totally get it. I prefer my nights in as well. So I get you. Do you prefer appetizers or desserts?
Ooh, that's a tough
I
one.
know.
It depends. I mean, I love a good dessert, but also I feel like appetizers are usually like I feel like the appetizer and the dessert is always the best part of the meal.
I agree.
Main entree is always just kind of like it was good, but like
Yeah.
appetizer and the dessert were the
Yep.
best parts.
I
But
agree. I
I don't know.
totally
I'd
agree.
say they're 50-50.
Yeah. For me, it really depends. Like, if all the appetizers are fried food, then I'm like, okay,
I don't
dessert.
care. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I agree
Yeah.
with that. Like I want it to be like a good quality
Yeah.
appetizer.
Something besides just like cheese curds or onion rings, like something different,
Mozzarella sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Beach vacation or mountain resort?
That one's hard too. We did just book a vacation to St. Pete for April. And yeah,
Awesome. You're going to love it. That's exciting.
yeah, I've never been, neither of us have been to St. Pete.
That's
But I do love mountain trips too, though. I mean, we
Yeah.
did
I
glacier
agree.
last year. So it just
Very
kind of
cool.
depends on the vibe that
Yeah.
I'm looking for. If I want more relaxation or more like activity type stuff.
Hmm.
But typically, I like finding a place that offers both, where it's just
Yeah.
like we can go on little hikes, but we can also maybe chill by a poolside.
Yeah.
That That's kind of my ideal type of vacation.
I love that. A vacation that you don't need a vacation from when you get home, in other words.
Yeah, I don't want to feel exhausted when I come home.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay. Last one. Do you prefer a podcast in your ear or jamming to your favorite music?
Again, on long drives, podcast. Otherwise, like in which I don't typically have long drives, but I'm typically driving like 10, 15 minutes bopping
Yeah.
around. And I
Yep.
don't like if I'm going to listen to a podcast, I want to listen to it. I don't like
Yes.
listen to it in pieces because I tend to like kind of forget what they were talking about.
Sure. Sure.
Kind of depends on the drive. Short drive, I'll just do music. Longer drive, I'll do like a podcast or something. But
Yeah. Do you ever have anything in your ear when you're walking?
nope. Usually,
No.
if I'm on a treadmill, I'm reading a book.
Love it.
on my
I love that.
I read, and then
Yeah.
outside, I just listen to nature or Anthony and I are walking and talking. I typically don't do any type of like music or anything while I walk
Yeah.
outside.
No, I get that. Early on in my marriage, I was the same way. Like we would walk together. Therefore, I didn't want anything in my ear. But now in the stage that we're in, it's like we don't walk together. That's not currently a luxury that we have as much.
Exactly.
So I'm usually listening to a podcast or a frequency of some kind. But yeah, I
Yeah,
understand
I love
that.
that.
Yeah. When I was in your stage, I was the exact same way. Like, I don't need anything in my ear. Like, I either want to be present in nature or I'm talking to Mitch. So yeah, I
Yeah,
get it.
absolutely.
Love it. Well, thank you for gracing us with your presence again, Kate. I just love, we think so similarly. So I think that's why these collabs just jive so well. So I
I
appreciate it.
agree. I think a lot of
Awesome.
people will get a lot of good stuff out of this one.
I agree. What's the best way if they want to reach out to you for your coaching? What's the best way they can reach out to you?
So I would reach out on, so my Instagram is at coached by Cate, and that's CATE. And there you can either DM me. I'm always willing to ask questions. I never make someone feel obligated to sign on because
Yep.
again, you have to be the one that's wanting to do it, just like
Yeah.
quitting alcohol. Like I want you to be fully invested in it.
Yes.
Otherwise, there's a link in my bio for you to just fill out the application. I am currently getting my website redone, so that
Nice.
is not up at this point, but hopefully within like the next month, we should have something rocking and rolling. I'm kind of hoping. So there's
Awesome.
not a whole lot of information, but I'm always willing to answer questions.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it and would love to hear from you if this resonated with you. And as always, feel free to subscribe to my weekly newsletter if you want more in depth information or more behind the scenes information of my life. Feel free to subscribe, it's in the show notes. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys all next week.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self, and I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on socials so we can keep spreading the next level you energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go!